Okay, hi everybody, 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins here on our Wednesday afternoon, and boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Nothing really changes from what we saw yesterday, at least minor changes. I'll show you that coming up, but let's just get going right off the top. I wanted to show you all of the systems that we have. Fiona, Category 4, that's going to go just to the west of Bermuda. Bermuda's going to get some good wind out of it, and then it goes to Nova Scotia. It goes up towards Canada, which is amazing. In the upper right-hand corner, you've got Gaston. Gaston is a small threat to the Azores, but that's it. It'll stay out in the Northeast Atlantic. We've got this wave that's coming off of Africa now. It has about a 30 to 40% chance of developing. We've got a small wave out ahead of it that they're saying is not going to do too much. Not concerned about that. And then we have Invest98L here with a 70 to 90% chance of development over the next couple of days in the Caribbean and then coming up perhaps into the Gulf of Mexico. So that's what we are watching very, very closely for you. First, I want to let you know, if you're watching on Facebook, I've got my YouTube page. Just search Bobby Deskins Weather. I put a lot more updates there than you'll find on all of my YouTube source, on all my Facebook pages. So go ahead, subscribe, and like that. And if you got questions to any of these videos, go ahead and post them. I get alerts, of course, and I can answer your questions there. Now, let's get back out here now to what do we want to do? Let's start with the big picture once again. So here we are. You can see everything that's out there now, especially if I go like that, it'll make it easier. Let's start right now with Fiona. Fiona, a Category 4 hurricane. Now, look at the eye on that thing. Shear has finally lightened up on it, and it's expanding. And you can see we've got winds now of 130 miles per hour. It's moving to the north at 8 miles per hour. That should pick up a little bit, but look at the pressure. Down to 937 millibars. Here's the track, and you can see Bermuda. I know it's tough. Bermuda is right here. It's just outside the cone. But the cone is only the center of the storm. It's saying that, you know, when we look back over the last 5 years, we've had this amount of error in our track forecast for the center of the storm. So the center of the storm, on average, is going to fall somewhere in between here. That doesn't mean the weather. We're going to have a ton of weather on the right side of this, and that's what they're going to have to deal with. We're thinking it's a little bit weaker, perhaps by that point, but still 130, 135 mile per hour winds nearby Bermuda. Yeah, something they're going to have to watch. And then look at this. Friday night up into Nova Scotia, up in parts of Canada, into Saturday. That's a pretty good storm heading that far north. Gaston, I'm not going to do a whole lot with. You can see the turn there near the Azores and then turning right back out to sea. Not a lot of wind, 65 mile per hour winds right now, and you can see not a lot of strengthening. In fact, it's weakening, because it's moving out over some cooler water. So not a big deal there. The other two I'm not even going to really mention today either, because I don't see them as being much of a threat at all, especially at this point. But let's talk 98L, because Invest 98 with about 35 mile per hour winds. You can see now it's just about now into the Caribbean technically, right? You can see the Windward Islands is Barbados up to the northeast. So I'd say it's basically that where they have the center plotted is in the Caribbean, but it's right near Trinidad and Tobago. So they're going to be moving. This will be moving off to the north and the west. Okay, this is the one to watch because of that. Now, I will say these models have shifted a little bit to the west. And of course, they're going to shift, right? That's what we've been saying if you've been watching. You can't just look at one model run. Although, say if you looked at the models over the last 3-4 days, they've been pretty much in the same area. They've been, moving around a little bit. They will continue to move around. This is a good sign. I would really like to see it turn early than I would turn late. But look, turning late means perhaps spares Florida, right? And if you're watching from anywhere else, I'm broadcasting from Tampa Bay. I'm the chief meteorologist here at the CBS station. So we don't want the storm. We don't want to put it on anybody else either. But what I do want to convey to you today is look at the ensembles for the GFS. This is basically saying that the GFS model alone thinks it could be over here or over here or anywhere in between. All right, so this is what we know. This is pretty legit as far as location. Intensity will change a little bit. This is where things start to spread out. If it takes this line in here, it looks like it wants to be a stronger system. Okay, that's the GFS model right now. I want to talk about getting prepped just in case. You're not boarding up right now, okay? But if you do have a plan, you want to make sure you have a plan. If you're asked to evacuate, where would you go? Timing would be the middle to end of next week, so we got time And I really don't want to go into too much of that right now because I do think that we have time to watch this thing. Let's come out and let's talk some models now. This is, of course, the models that you can see that are running there. You can posting a spell casting. All right, here, move along. There's the track, right? The forecast tracks. Each one of those lines is one model, and it's the latest run of that model. And those models will keep running. So these tracks will change, especially as we start to see where the center of the system is, if it starts to get a little bit better organized, that type of thing, right? Here is a look at the GFS. It's basically what I just showed you. It's a different version. You can see it's color-coded near the back end for the stronger ones. And then it's got kind of the mean line in there, the one in the middle. All right. Now let's take a look at the European. Back to the GFS, back to the European, GFS, European. See that western tip of Cuba? Far western tip of Cuba. And this is going to change, but I want to show you this today because we've been kind of tracking this last couple of days, and I'll keep showing you this every other day. It's anywhere in the eastern Gulf of Mexico, including Florida, has to really watch this. And then the intensity forecast models, most of the modeling, when that thing starts to get in the Northwest Caribbean and turn towards the Gulf, they say, yeah, we know there's a ton of warm water there. It's probably not going to be a lot of shear there, especially initially. There'll be some in the northern Gulf, but initially when it enters, if it does, it's going to be looking like it's got a pretty prime environment for development. Here are the forecast models. Let's start with the GFS model. And that's Fiona, obviously, as you can see right there. Here we go. This is Friday afternoon. Now, look, if this thing becomes a depression Friday afternoon, that's a closed low. The model has it, right? That would be a depression. That would get a track. And if that were the case, the track would likely, the cone from the Hurricane Center would likely be somewhere up here over South Florida into the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, so that's Friday afternoon, Friday night. So be prepared this weekend. If this thing develops like the models are saying, we could end up in a cone here. We just have to wait and see. I'm hoping the thing falls apart before it can even get going. The model's certainly not saying that. This is the GFS model by Sunday morning. Way south of Jamaica. Great news for them, right? Then you get south of the Caymans as well. That's good news. This is, what run is this? This is the 12Z run from this morning. This is Tuesday morning sunrise right there. There's the Yucatan. Look how far to the west that is. Big ridge of high pressure sitting up here. All right, big ridge sitting right in here. The high is centered up in that area there. All right, that's good. That's a blocking ridge. But let's see how the model handles it. So then it takes it across the Yucatan, central Gulf of Mexico. This is Friday morning, a week from this Friday. And then it takes it up into here. Now look, yesterday, I can even show you. Let's go back and let's look at the run before. It had it there, okay? The run before that, it had it there. The run before that, it had it there. The run before that one, we go back 4 runs altogether, it had it there. So the GFS has been fairly consistent. It is sliding west. You see that jump? That's good news. We would like to keep that, at least for folks in Florida. This is the European forecast model. I'm going to go, it's very similar. It's a little bit closer to Jamaica, a little bit closer. Well, in fact, it's right over Grand Cayman, right? That would be Monday. And then here it comes across the western tip of Cuba. That would be Tuesday night. And then it comes in Venice. This is going to change. So the run before this, it had it down here, coming in down to Marco. I don't know if I can go back. The runs before that, it had it there, coming in north of Tampa. So models are changing. Models will continue to change. The ensemble runs, this is the GFS. Look at all those L's. See the spread? That's what I was showing you at the top of this. You can see the spread that's way out there. So we want to see a little bit of agreement. I love seeing this going further to the west. It indicates it would be weaker down here in the Gulf. So that means tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, a little weaker before it gets its act together. And then you can see it's all over the place there. This is the European with the ensembles. Look at that. I mean, the Europeans are on board with this thing coming up towards the Grand Cayman area, western Cuba. And then it starts to split. I mean, look, some are around here, some are down here over the Yucatan. So what we know is the next 3 days in here, right? System's right here. So maybe take it out to here. We don't know the intensity yet, though. All right, it's nothing right now. Somewhere in here, it should start to get its act together. Next 24 to 36 hours, we should start to see some improvement. But then, when you're talking, now this is next Wednesday night, a week from tonight, you've got this spread all the way in here, right? So you're talking this time frame here that we just don't know. So it's too early to get excited about, to get panicked about it at least. This is the GFS ensemble saying, where is there a chance of tropical depression? Greatest down here. How about the highest chances of seeing a tropical storm? Well, here we are. Here we are. Look at it coming through the channel there. How about the highest probability of seeing a hurricane? It's got it down here, a little further to the west, suggesting it's coming out in this direction. Okay. Now let's look at the European tropical depression. You can see it clearly. It's a little further to the right. Right. This is the chance of having a tropical depression. How about the chance of tropical storm? It's further to the right, right over Cuba. How about a chance for a hurricane? And it's got it off the Florida coast. So that is where we are at with it at this particular time. Let me show you. This is Tropical Tidbits. They have a great site here. Let me just show you a little bit of it right now. And then I'll see if I can ask some questions here. I feel like I'm watching John Madden. Boom! Boom! You go, this guy goes here, that guy goes there, and then boom. All right, so bottom line, unless you're leaving the area now, we're not boarding up quite yet. We're not there. We just don't know, right? We don't know where this thing's going. It's nothing right now. It's just this wave that you can see, and it's not organized. We're just following the models, and we want to see how they go over the next few days, right? Once it gets a depression status, if it gets a depression status, we will get a track with that. And then you'll get a cone, and then you'll have a little bit more of an idea where and when. My timing is the middle of next week, Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, perhaps. Yeah, somewhere in the eastern Gulf of Mexico, central Gulf of Mexico. But what you need to do now, what I would suggest, like I went out yesterday and I got my hurricane kit for me personally, my food. Although I'm with the station wherever we are, sometimes we have to evacuate our particular station or go to another one. But I do bring some extra food. Now, I made sure I got stuff for my family, stuff that I know that the kids will eat, non-perishable foods, right? Just plan on camping. Tyler Moore is one of our meteorologists. He likes to camp a lot. If you got stuff for camping, you got stuff that you need for your kit, right? Because the main reason for your kit is food and water and things that you can eat that don't require you cooking them without power, right? We're not going to have AC if we didn't have power, that kind of thing. So that's what your hurricane kits are for. Insurance-wise, a little late to get any insurance, okay? Once there's a name system out there, most people aren't going to write you a policy. But you want to know what insurance you have, and you want to organize that into something that if you have to evacuate, you take that with you. Take all those important papers with you, Social Security cards, that kind of stuff, right? I'll get more into this if this is needed. But right now, it's a plan that you need to put together. Think about where you would go if you were asked to evacuate. Know your zone. Not everybody evacuates. I mean, the hurricane's 300 miles wide when some of them are 400, some are 200. You know, we don't even know this is going to be a hurricane yet. But when a hurricane comes to an area, wherever it is, it's pretty big. Most people are going to feel it. Not everybody's going to be asked to evacuate. In fact, in our area, it's just the people that live along the immediate water that tend to be obviously evacuated, level A, level B, perhaps. So you there especially want to have a plan. Say something were to develop, something were to come our way, and you were asked to evacuate, where would you go, right? We want you to go tens of miles. We don't want you to go hundreds of miles, right? Just get out of the evacuation zone, which is like 10 miles, wherever. Just go inland a little bit. Have a friend's house, have a hotel, anything like that. Those are the things that you're doing now. You're making sure your kit's good to go. You're making sure you have a plan, and you kind of would know what to do if push comes to shove later next week. All right? That's where we are with it right now. Of course, the team is keeping a very close eye on it. We don't want to get everybody too worked up about this, so just want to make sure that everybody is prepared. Will it live up to its hype? Don't know. Don't know. I mean, the only hype on it is the models, right? I mean, the models are trying to do something with it. Good afternoon. How are you, Vet? Good to hear from you. Hope you're doing well out there. Okay, guys, that's it. I'm going to get off here today. Hopefully it's not too long. 5 o'clock, we're going to have the very latest on 10 Tampa Bay, and that will include the latest track on Fiona, the models that are coming in as well too. It's not going to be too different than what I just showed you, but there may be some things there and some subtle changes. So I'll be having that for you first thing at 5 o'clock on 10 Tampa Bay. Have a great afternoon, guys. If anything changes, I'll get with you tonight. Right now, I don't expect a whole lot of strengthening out of this thing really at all overnight. So we'll just see what the convection does, see if we can try and get organized. But hey, good news. The weaker this thing is right now, the better chance it goes further west, and perhaps it doesn't even form. Perhaps it gets into Yucatan, something like that. So I like seeing this thing unorganized right now. All right, that's it, guys. Have a great one. I'll talk to you on TV in just a little bit.